everyone, Lucamus Prime here. So it is time for the next episode of a movie that didn't need a sequel. And in today's video, I'm going to be covering this time an example of a Christmas movie, which in my opinion did not need sequels. And to me is the end of two movies, a duology if you will. And I wish this franchise did not become a trilogy. And that film, of course, is none other than, and of course, what is 2002's The Santa Claus 2. So, you guys are probably going to be asking me, what do I think of the two films? Well, I really love the first movie. It's my personal favourite out of the trilogy. I definitely really love the movie, and also Scott Calvin is most definitely my favourite live-action role of Tim Allen, absolutely. I think Tim Allen gave a really amazing performance in the film as Scott Calvin, did a really great job playing him, and I really enjoyed him a lot. And in the sequel, I think the sequel is also a good sequel too, as well, in my opinion, and I really enjoyed that. And so, when it comes to what I think of this sequel, well, I think it does a really great job wrapping up the story well, because this one, of course, involves Scott Calvin looking for another Claus, which is the Mrs. Claus, and that, of course, is Principal Carol Newman, who, of course, will become Mrs. Claus. So, I really love how this film did something new with a story where it revolves around Scott looking for a love interest, compared to, of course, the plot of the first one where he does become Santa Claus. And in this film, I think they did a really great job with that, in my opinion, and that's why I think it's an underrated Christmas movie. And the film also has, in my opinion, a phenomenal ending as well, where they get together and of course, Carol becomes Mrs. Claus and they get married. It's a very happy ending right there. And definitely really great to watch, in my opinion. So, as far as I'm concerned, guys, The Santa Claus is only two movies. Just two. However, unfortunately, despite this really amazing ending that this film gave, we sadly got a third film released 4 years later, which I'm very annoyed about, of course, which is 2006's The Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause. Oh my god. So, last Christmas, guys, last year, I watched these three movies, and while I love the first two films, this one I thought absolutely sucked. Like, bloody hell. It was terrible, in my opinion. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Compared to the first two films, which I really enjoyed watching, this film for me was absolutely horrendous from start to finish. And I have no clue whatsoever what we were doing with this. So, if you guys are wondering what this film is about, it's about, of course, Scott Calvin finding a way to reverse a spell caused by, of course, the film's antagonist, which is Jack Frost, that causes him to lose the title of Santa Claus. And personally, guys, I was not a fan of Jack Frost as a villain that much. In my opinion, he was really underdeveloped and just not a villain I cared about whatsoever. I've also got Martin Short, who played him. And what makes this film so dumb, in my opinion, is how it's literally just a lifeless retread of It's a Wonderful Life, which in my opinion is an absolute masterpiece compared to this. In my opinion, one of the greatest Christmas films ever made. And that's also one of the oldest ones I've ever seen in my life too, because it was from the 40s. And that was way better than this garbage. Like, this film is just a lifeless retread of that film and its plot, because it's involved, of course, going back in time and stuff like that. It's just stupid. And in my opinion, it's badly rushed as well, and in my opinion, makes no sense. I just think it's really stupid, and I also feel that, in my opinion, the comedy didn't really work either in this film for me, personally. And this might be one of those times where I actually do agree with Rotten Tomatoes on this, because this film is called by them a bag of bland gags and dumb slapstick. And you know what, I agree. And the critics actually give it negative reviews, and I agree with them, because I don't like this film. I'd give it a negative review as well, because I personally don't like it. Like, this third film was just so disappointing compared to the great first two films to me. Like, retreading It's Wonderful Life and just being stupid, in my opinion, and boring. Like, I just couldn't stand it. So, as far as I'm concerned, guys, the end of a franchise is the second film. Definitely not this. But then again, though, come to think of it, no, it's not the end, because guess what, guys? They're doing a sequel TV show as well called The Santa Clauses for some reason now, which of course started last year in November, and it's still going to this day. So, like, what? I just think it's really stupid how we're continuing on and milking this franchise, because as far as I'm concerned, the franchise ended with a second movie. And if you guys are going to ask me, will I be watching the series? My answer to that is hell no, because I am not interested whatsoever. The third film killed any interest I have in watching any more Santa Claus related projects, because it was just so stupid in my opinion, and ruined what I love about the films. So I will stick to the first two films. That's what I'll do. And when it comes to what I'm ever going to order and rewatch, guys, I will only ever see if I can find the first two films and rewatch those. I definitely don't plan to buy the third film anytime soon, or watch the show for that matter, which is on D-. There's no way I want to rewatch that unless I'm doing it for trash talk. In which case, if I'm unable to get the films separately, I could get them as a trilogy box set, because it means I can rewatch the third film for its trash talk, of course. Then I'll have to watch it ever again, because I don't see any reason why I should watch it again, because in my opinion it's garbage and absolute trash. Because compared to the first one, which I give a solid 9 out of 10 to, and the second one I give a 7 out of 10 to, which I think is underrated and a very good sequel, I give this very bad sequel a 4.5 out of 10, because I think it was stupid. It absolutely sucked in my opinion. The first ones were miles better in my opinion. So, as far as I'm concerned, guys, there's only 2 Santa Claus movies. Just 2 as far as I'm concerned, and that's how it is for me. I like them as only 2. Anyway, guys, this is me covering why, in my opinion, the Santa Claus 2 is an example of a Christmas film. We did not need a sequel. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to tell us in the comments what you guys think of Santa Claus 2. If you've seen it, let us think in the comments below. If you need a sequel, let us think in the comments below. Also, be sure to join the team, prime by pressing subscribe, those to come in the future. And I'll see you all later.